Welcome, everyone. If you're just jumping on, welcome. I'm Kim Fulton, and we're going to get started here in a few moments, just waiting for everyone to join in. So while we're waiting, I would love for you to get familiar with the chat. If you can find the chat box on your screen, it is often at the kind of in the lower toolbar. It'll say chat, and if you open that up, you'll see your name as well as all the other people on the call tonight. And in that, on the chat box, in the chat box, you're going to see kind of at the bottom where your name is highlighted a place for you to type. You can choose to type and whatever your response is or whatever you'd like to share. And by hitting enter, you will share it with the group. So take a moment and find the chat box. And when you found it, I would love for you to share where you are joining us from today. So just as we get started, you're going to find the chat box and let me know in the chat where you are joining us from today. And we're just giving a moment or two for everybody else to join in. Great, lots of locations, lots of representation here today. I see Ontario, I see London, Ontario, I see Toronto, California. Oh my goodness, welcome from California. I see Michigan. Great, I'll let those responses keep coming in. Wonderful. Charlottetown. Wow, that's amazing. Welcome to the East Coast. Okay. And you can feel free, keep looking for that chat box. And if you're finding it, if you'd like to share with us where you are joining us from today, please feel free to pop it in the chat. And otherwise, you know what? We are going to get started. I'm going to go on screen here. Hi, guys. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to today's session. Today is the fourth installment of Stress and the Holiday Season. And while up until today, this is our fourth in the workshop series. We started at the beginning of December in session one. We talked about the pause and how to leverage the pause to gain clarity. In session two, we talked about going with the flow and how that created more ease and calm in your life. We talked in session three, which was just, it feels like a long time ago, but it was 2 weeks ago tonight, where we honored the winter solstice and talked about ways that we honor the light and how connecting with our inner light, our inner guide, can be our compass in helping us move forward. And tonight, on January 2nd, I am so excited to talk about, I've got on the screen here the 3 little known strategies to break free of the stress cycle when nothing else has worked. And I thought this was a perfectly timed conversation because January 2nd, we are in full-on New Year's resolution mode. Welcome to 2025. And with that, we have absolutely no shortage at all of things telling us how to be our new best selves this year, our new best selves. So tonight we're going to talk a lot about the stress cycle and stress management, and my views on stress management in particular, kind of the strategies about that or around that, and why that maybe is not working for you like it used to. And so before you start to create these new resolutions, I really want you to have this information so that you can create a plan, a strategy for 2025. Okay. So let's dive in. Let's dive in. Are you ready? Comment yes in the chat if you are ready. I'm seeing ready from Crystal and Megan, Courtney, Anna. Yeah, ready, ready, ready. Okay, fantastic. Well, I am ready too, so that's good news. So, before we start, I'm just going to recommend that you really focus. That you really focus. There is a lot going on right now that's calling our attention. That is um, uh, vying for our focus, vying for our time, and vying for our energy. So I'm going to recommend that to make the most out of this time today, and we'll be here 45 minutes to an hour, kind of depending on how many questions, and I've got lots of time, but if you can kind of think about it in the parameter of that, 45 minutes to an hour of focused time, and really looking for opportunities to reduce any distractions, right? To maybe not multitask. You can close out the additional browser windows, put your phone on mute, silence your alerts, hang a sign on the door if that's what's needed, because I want you to really, really connect here, right? Connect here to what I have to share, because I think that, if you want to learn to stop the stress cycle in your life, and block out all the extra distractions, I think that this is your time to do it. This is your time to do it. New year, new you. Let's do it right. Give this time to yourself. Okay. Are you ready? You all set? You silenced everything and put everything on mute and ready to keep going? All right. So I wanted to share with you in this workshop in particular, this is a special workshop. Like I said, it is the fourth in my series of stress in the holiday season. But in this workshop, I want to really outline for you a roadmap for the rest of the year. Um, so that's my big promise to you. In particular, in return for your undivided attention, what I want to say is by the end of this workshop, I'm going to show you how to stop using all of the things that might be, these resolutions that you're setting right now, things like using gym memberships, wellness apps, habit stacking, and I'll talk about that a bit more later, taking a break, all of the ways that you have been commonly or have you commonly understand are the ways to reduce stress or to deal with the stress in your life. And I want to show you how you can stop those things and feel more calm, clarity, and ease and joy every day. And I really think this is particularly relevant right now as we start to live our New Year's resolutions. Because like I said, there is no shortage of things that are vying for your time and vying for your attention. Just to name a few things, there are these like manifestation seminars, mindfulness memberships, boot camps, the journal prompts, calendars, apps, trackers, cleanses, so much stuff, right? And it can be so tempting to fill your cart, your schedule, your phone, your playlist with all of these promising things. It's all up for grabs. And I want you to be armed with the information and knowledge and the plan to navigate it all, and then to come up with a plan and approach that will finally help you be rid of all of the overwhelm. So that's my promise to you. That's my promise. And if you can't tell already, I'm incredibly passionate about this. And hopefully I think that passion will kind of show as I continue this workshop with you in our time together tonight. And, you might notice that I get, particularly animated at points, or I start to, my voice starts to raise. And it's all because I am so incredibly, passionate, but incredibly committed to this work. And I know that this can be your reality. This can be your reality. And if that sounds good to you, just tell me yes in the comment. Tell me yes in the comments. So I get my screens in order here. Jen says yes. Andrea, Susan, Rebecca, Deb, excellent. I'm glad. I'm glad that sounds good to you. All right. Okay, so as we get going here, I wondered if any of these things are familiar to you, if you can relate to any of these things. You know what, guys? I've got so many screens on here. If I pause for any moment, it's because I am trying to sync up one screen with the next. There we go. Okay, so can you relate to any of these things? You're feeling like stress is your constant companion, and the things that didn't stress you out before now are leaving you overwhelmed. Do you feel like you're trying all the things to keep it managed, but those pervasive feelings of overwhelm just don't go away? Or, maybe for a little bit, but not for long. Do you ever feel like you're exhausted and maybe having trouble sleeping? Maybe you feel like you're on a hamster wheel and not able to jump off. Are you feeling like the demands of work, family, your environment are keeping you from what you need, what you know you need to do to feel better? And you feel like you're jumping from one solution to another, and all you really long for is to feel the calm, clarity, and ease every day. That seems too much to ask, really, right? Can you relate to any of those scenarios? All of those scenarios? Type yes in the comments if you're with me here. Yep, Courtney, yes. Andrea, yes. Rebecca, yes, 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 yes. These are what I hear from my clients all the time. And in fact, if you can relate to these, then um, I know as well that these are all things that I felt at one point. I've had these experiences, and so have countless other women that I've spoken to and worked with. You are not alone. In fact, this seems to be kind of the status quo these days, right? You probably hear it from your family members, from your friends, from the people you work with. Well, here's what I want you to know. Here's what I want you to know. We'll kind of level set right here. So let me just start by saying it is not your fault. There are lots of reasons that this is happening. If you're nodding your head in agreement with any of these points, I promise you, it's not because I'm a mind reader. It's because I've done all these things. I've felt like this before. And I promise you that whatever it is that you're doing that is not working, it is also not your fault. It's not your fault. Honestly, it's baked into our workplaces, it's baked into our culture, and it's everywhere that we see in the media, social media, on TV, on the internet. And it's really, really, really hard to know, which thing. It's hard to make sense of what's going to be the best next thing. And so we find ourselves just trying one thing after the other in the hopes that that next thing will actually work. And if you feel like anything like I did back then when this was my state of being, um, I would have done just about anything to get rid of that daily stress and overwhelm. And even though I would have done anything, in fact, I did everything. None of it worked. None of it was working. Oh my gosh. But here's what I also know. You want to feel better. You want to get rid of the feeling of panic, dread in your belly. You want to not feel the constant overwhelm. You want to live with more calm, clarity, and ease without having to meditate for hours on end, or to have to add even more to your never-ending to-do list. And you don't want to have to overhaul your relationships or quit your job, etc., etc., etc. Right? You want to be able to, the dream is to have to have this set of ideals, to be in the state of being ideal in life, in life, right? We can't overwhelm or overhaul or renovate our lives necessarily. So I think it's important at this time that I tell you a little bit more about me. So there I am. Now you've got two images of me. But I'm Kim, and I share as I share kind of this this workshop with you tonight, I think it's important that I tell you about me and why I do what I do here. So, on paper, I am a yoga and Ayurvedic wellness coach, and I'm the founder of the Stress Less Solution program. But I am a wife, a mom, a daughter, a sister, a yoga teacher, a friend, an entrepreneur, a book club member, nature lover, neighborhood explorer. Sometimes I go running. I love HGTV. I love traveling with my friends. I have an MBA. I could go on and on and on. I'm not special. I am just a normal person like you. And I support busy women over 40 who break the cycle of stress in their daily lives without having to add more to their already jam-packed to-do lists and spending hours a day meditating and without having to overhaul the relationships or quit their jobs. This is me. This is who I am, and this is what I do. That is me today. But I'll tell you, I am also someone who struggled for years with the cycle of stress in my life. And so, what started as a chronic feeling of stress, right? This kind of creeping stress, kind of the mounting stress, the days, the months, the years, um, the stress was building. And it became a cycle of stress in my life. It started as this kind of chronic feeling, and it transitioned or it moved into something that was kind of a constant feeling. It was an acute state of panic and overwhelm every day, every morning when I woke up. And I longed to experience more calm, clarity, and ease every day. But I was at the point where all the things that I used to do weren't working for me anymore. And because of my busy life and schedule, finding time to do all the things that I wanted to do or I thought I needed to do to resolve the stress was becoming a problem. In fact, everything was becoming a problem. I should add to that, profile that I gave of myself, that I was a busy corporate employee. I spent over 25 years in the corporate world. I had a big job. And, to find myself in the state where all the things that I used to do, all the things that I was good at, all the things that I prided myself in, all of that stuff wasn't working anymore. Was just, well, this picture says it all. And that picture is not me, by the way, because I would have never taken a picture of me in that state or in that, or looking like I was exhausted and frustrated and at wit's end. That's just not done. But that's how I was feeling inside. And, so I spent a long time trying to solve the problem by thinking, planning, making lists, tracking my to-dos, things that was hoping could resolve my problem of busy. And it got to be that anytime I was supposed to be relaxing, enjoying time with family or friends, or even sleeping, that I was thinking and planning about what I was going to do, complete, schedule, or tackle to fix the problem. If only I could just finish a project, create a plan, take a course, right? I was convinced things would get better. And I was waking up every day with a to-do list a mile long and already feeling behind. That anxious, panicky feeling in my stomach was almost a constant companion. But in my mind, I was doing all the right things. So why couldn't I get on top of it? So frustrating, so frustrating. And the ways that I was tackling the problem are what I saw modeled in my corporate work setting, and what I read about in personal development books, what I heard about in podcasts, what the wellness gurus and fitness apps were recommending. So that was me. Can anybody relate to some of those feelings? You can type yes in the comment box or no. If this is not you, that's good too. Yeah, Jen, yes. Claire, yes. Deb, yes. Yes. Oh, Rebecca, constant feelings of stress and panic. Yeah. And Courtney, so sick and tired of it all. Yeah, I was too. I understand, and you are not alone. I'm sure you have just expressed what everybody else is also feeling. And you know what? The other thing is I felt like the problem was just me. The problem must be me because it works for everybody else. Does anybody else feel like that? Yeah, Andrea. Yeah. Yeah, you feel alone. But you know what? Look at the group we've got on the call tonight, right? You are not alone. But it's not the thing that wakes you up in the middle of the night or the feeling that you have in the middle of the night is that it is you. I thought to myself, if I could just make it through this phase, right, this thing, this project, it would be better. But the problem was that at the end of that one thing, there was always another one. And I was suffering. Oh my gosh, I was suffering. And I think, it's quite liberating to express it that way. It is indeed suffering. And I knew that I could not go on that way. I knew in my heart that there had to be a better way. And I was either going to find it or, I was going to lose my job, damage my relationship, or have a health crisis. Um, that was seriously my contemplations at the time. Does anybody else feel like that? Tell me if you feel like you're struggling or suffering. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Courtney, you are not alone. No, we are not alone. Awesome. All right. But then let me talk to you about what happened next. And maybe you've had this moment too. I had this defining moment, and this is a picture of me. And I love this picture for a number of reasons. Um, but when I look back and when I pulled out this picture, I realized that this point in time was a place where my decision to do things differently, this defining moment happened. The defining moment and the decision to take action. And that happened this very weekend. This picture was taken. When I look back at it, I see joy and relief, determination and empowerment. All those feelings I felt standing at that spot. And I'll just explain where I am. I've got my feet in the water. You can tell I'm in shallow water. But I'm actually at this point. It is the very southest place in Canada. It's the point on Pelee Island where the waters of Lake Erie converge on the point of the island. And at that point, and the waves can kind of, you can see it in the waves a little bit there, but the waves kind of stir up the water in such a way. And it is an incredibly powerful feeling. There's incredible energy there. Now, prior to that trip, prior to this moment in time, I was actually really quite at the depths of despair in my job. I felt like everything was collapsing around me. And in the middle of that storm, and the churning waters, literally the churning waters, I had been trying everything I knew to stop the cycle of stress and overwhelm, everything I knew. Um, it was a terrible time. And I went on vacation anyway. I went on vacation anyway. It was probably the very worst time for me, but to take vacation, but I did it anyway. And it was here that I decided that what I needed to do to stop the anguish I was feeling was already within me. So I took a leap of faith and I was going to finally trade in this stress, anxiety, and overwhelm and begin to live with calm, clarity, and ease every day, no matter what it took or how long it took. I made the decision I was going to figure it out. And I wanted to break that cycle of stress in my life without having to like, go live in a cave or quit my job or overhaul my life. There had to be a way, and I was going to crack this problem. Um, and this decision I made on that weekend was a decision not only to do differently, but to figure it out no matter what, and to invest in myself to make it happen. Okay. Oh, here we go, pivoting between slides again. There we are. And what I need you to know about this as well, like I can sit here and I can say it, and you're like, okay, Kim, easy for you to say, but the journey, the process was not easy. Even though now I have greater calm and ease in my life, it took time to figure it out. That picture um, on Peely Island was in 2018. I was, it was a very, it feels like so long ago, but truly 2025 now. So it is 6 years ago. 6 years and many gray hairs later. You can definitely see a difference in my hair. But on this journey, I had to unlearn everything I thought was the right thing to do because it had become so obvious to me that those things weren't serving me anymore. The journey took me off the beaten path, and the one I had been cultivating for years and at that point had already given me so much, but I was quickly discovering on this journey how wrong those things were, wrong those things were in my path forward. Not that they were wrong in the path before, but in the path forward, those two things could not exist together anymore. So I had to test out different formulas and see, which things felt true to me, felt authentic. And there were many points where I struggled. On this journey, I had to shift my focus from the trendy, businessy, corporate personal development-y things that I had been doing. And I switched over to these ideas of the framework provided through yoga and Ayurveda because of their time-tested authenticity. But as well, the focus on health and well-being is an extension and in alignment with nature. And that made sense to me as truth. I invested my time and energy and resources into teachers and teaching so I could get closer to the answers I was seeking, which was how to live a life of more joy and ease. And honestly, there were so many times where I wish somebody could have said to me, just do this, just do this. But it took a lot of time and patience, and there was no way I could have discovered, the formula to this greater calm, clarity and ease without having invested that time. I don't begrudge or regret any moment of it because it's this combination of the personal experiences plus that intensive study and education that has made me an expert in this field, in particular, how to break the stress cycle. And so for all of that journey, all of those experiences, I am so incredibly grateful. I was committed to figuring it out, and I did. And I was committed to not having to rely on my old ways to do things, and I do not. So let me tell you more about my discovery. First of all, we all talked about kind of feeling alone or there must be something wrong with me. The truth is, there is nothing wrong with you or me. um, it wasn't that I didn't have what it takes. It wasn't that I wasn't strong enough. It wasn't that even that the podcasts or personal development books or the other stress management techniques in and of themselves are bad. You can't demonize all of those, all of the things out there. It's not that they're bad. I discovered that the reason that they weren't working was because I was trying to solve the problem at the level of the problem. I was trying to solve a problem of more by doing more. So I'll explain that a little bit. I was caught up in the cycle of doing more, or at least thinking I needed to do more to solve the problem. And instead of helping, for example, or specifically alleviating the stress, it was creating overload and overwhelm in my mind and my senses. And that's what was impacting my physical, mental, and emotional well-being. And this is what I share with my clients. Not only where and how the stress is accumulating, but how to unwind and release the accumulated stress, how to reset and rebuild, because there is a simpler way to break the cycle of stress. And you don't even have to find more hours in your day to do it. So type yes in the comment if you think you would like a simpler way of doing things. Yes, did that sound good? Oh, I got a hell yes from Deb. A please from Susan. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, well, you are in the right place. And quite frankly, again, I keep coming back to the reason that I'm doing this workshop right now, um, is because of all the activity out there and all of the stress management tactics and all of the, like I mentioned, all of the, manifestation things and the journals and the workshops and the and all the stuff out there. Because quite frankly, right, if they are not doing this for you, they are not teaching you this, then you will come back to this point in the way that you were feeling today in short order. Because quite frankly, doing this is what makes me unique. You can find lots of people talking about stress management, but nobody else is talking about stress transformation. That is what I do. So before I jump into a bunch of strategies, I want to share an example because I think it's important for you to see examples of what real success looks like so you can get an understanding of what, first of all, real people here and what might be also possible for you. And I want you to pay attention to the feelings that I share here, both on screen and as I tell the story. Okay. So B had been working with me for a few sessions, just a few sessions, in fact, when she had a huge breakthrough. By looking at her daily routine, we were able to find a few key places where she could stop the game. And in place of busy, she could do one simple thing that would be a game changer. In the same week, she reported that it was like a weight had literally been lifted off her shoulders and was able to clearly see what changes needed to be made in her work world. And not only did she have the clarity, but she had the confidence to impact the changes. Now, let me tell you where B was at before. B was quite literally not sleeping. She told me she was eating a family-sized bag of chips every night. She had acute pain radiating down her arm and her shoulder, from her shoulder, that made her work, mostly at a computer, all day excruciating. Excruciating. When we were able to look at her daily routine, and I'm not talking overhauling her day, overhauling her job even. I'm talking about a few key places where she could literally stop, pause the game, and in place of busy, make a slight shift. It was and she discovered that slight shift was a game changer. I I say here, it was like a weight had literally been lifted off her shoulders. She went from excruciating pain, shoulder pain, to a weight being literally lifted off her shoulders. Can you hear kind of the emotions and the feelings associated with that? Because you see, just like the stress cycle snowballs, and that was the case for B, ease, calm, and clarity can also snowball. Now imagine, can you feel, what would it feel like to have that heaviness literally lifted off your shoulders? What does that feel like for you? Without the weight or panic or overwhelm or dread, would you feel lighter, get better sleep, feel stronger, more confident? Tell me in the comments which word or words best fits that would make you feel. What word best describes how this feels for you? How does it feel to replace busy with simplicity and ease? A dream, says Crystal. Yep. Like a transformation. Yeah, like relief, says Anna. Relief. Yep, Deb giving me the crying emoji. Yep, absolutely. The crying emoji. It's a load, right? To release that stress, to literally feel it release off your shoulders in one simple change. One simple change. We had only started working together. We'd only started to work together, and immediately, one little change, huge breakthrough. That's the story. That's the story of B. So let's put this into practice here. I talked about these kind of um, uh, these three key themes of the three um, ways to break the cycle of stress. I want to talk about these core concepts here. Let me know if you've ever tried any of the following. Using an app to track your sleep, steps, food, or heart rate. Have you tried habit stacking or other self-help regimes? Maybe boot camps, kickboxing classes, personal training, crashing on the couch, get away. I can never say that. Get away from it all, vacations, wine, recreational drugs, or sleeping in. Any of that sound familiar? You can pop a yes in the chat. Yeah, yeses are coming in. And just to note there, habit stacking is a term used in the Atomic Habits by James Clear. Okay. So, these are popular stress management tactics. You can find these all over the internet and social media right now. And these things, all of these things have this huge uptick in growth in January. Absolutely. But the truth is, when you are in a state of persistent stress, that chronic stress I was talking about, and that acute feeling of panic and overwhelm, these things don't work, at least not in the long term. They might work briefly and very quickly, but not for the long term. Because here's the problem. Let me tell you why. I want to help you, I want to really help you understand why they haven't helped you release the stress in the past. You've told me that you've used them. Let me tell you what's going on with these things. So the apps, the trackers, it's data. These are data points. They're not strategies or tactics. And you can try all these things, but you don't always really know why one thing works and why others don't. They're simply data points. So they don't kind of put together a composite package for you. Habit stacking and self-help regimes are often really kind of one size fits all formulas. And the boot camps, kickboxing classes, personal training, these are incredibly popular, but they're also they're extreme, they're harsh. They increase adrenaline, cortisol, and adrenal fatigue. And if you were trying to cultivate calm, clarity, and ease, you're adding more stress into your day. They're also adding something new into your already very busy day. Crashing on the couch, getting away from it all, vacations. These are things that preoccupy you or entertain you. But unfortunately, the stress, anxiety, and overwhelm are just, they're there when you get back. Similarly, with wine, recreational drugs, and sleeping in, those are more like putting a blanket on the problem. You can feel better in the moment or forget about it for a moment, but the issues are still there when you get back into life. And honestly, those are not practical or healthy long-term strategies. And let's talk a little bit more about why in particular I group these things together. I talked about a little bit about this before in terms of my own story, but the problem with these particular tactics for stress management are that they are asking you to do more. It's like trying to solve the problem at the level. You can't solve the problem at the level of the problem. A problem of more can't be solved by doing more. So the real reason why these actions that you've been taking aren't alleviating the stress, anxiety, and overwhelm is because you also haven't addressed your root cause. You're only attacking the problem at the level of the problem itself. That makes sense? Okay. So instead of helping you, this type of strategy creates overload in the mind and the senses, and then it continues to impact your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. It perpetuates the overwork and burnout, and the nervous system and adrenal fatigue. And these are the things that contribute to this cycle of stress, right? The cycle of doing more, the cycle of busy. Um, the way I like to phrase it as it's a cycle of stress that has you increasing your stress load. And that is what I like to call stress stacking. So instead of managing the stress or dealing with the stress, you're adding a layer of stress to your stress. Does that make sense? So this phrase or term of phrase I've coined as stress stacking is really where we're adding things to our schedule or adding things that we have to our to-do list or adding things um, to our day. And by creating that additional add, right, we are creating additional stress. So I often like to ask, is your stress management technique causing you stress? And these things often do. Oh, I know it's not funny in practice, but it's funny when you say it out loud, right? These are the things that when you see them, you're like, oh, of course that doesn't make sense. Of course that's why it's not working. You can't solve a problem on the level of the problem. Now I'm going to share with you another story. This is the story of Elle. So my client would use her morning boot camps to manage her stress. And she would tell me, she told me for years that it's what kept her calm or what keeps her calm and sane. Mind you, I'd often hear about that from her in the middle of being frantic about an upcoming project deadline, uncollaborative colleagues, her husband's last minute schedule change, which meant that she now had to pick up the kids. But, she'd say, thank God I got my workout in this morning, Kim. But what she didn't really realize was that she was actually punishing her body, exhausting her adrenals, and burning out her nervous system with this morning boot camp. And it might have given her that rush, that I'm going to kick butt feeling in the morning, and at the end of the workout. But in reality, it was really contributing to her overwhelm, and burnout. And quite honestly, when she wasn't able to fit it in, here's another problem with all these things we need to fit in. When you can't fit it in, right, you feel like a failure. You beat yourself up for it, or you feel resentment over missing it. Now, I'm going to be honest here. This took me a bit to kind of work with her on heavy lifting on my part to show her how her workout was contributing to her stress levels. Because when she was doing it, she was feeling so great. And so many people do it. How could everybody else be wrong? It's so popular. It's so mainstream. We see it all over the place. Boot camps, high intensity interval training, all of these are available everywhere. And there's like such an influx of them right now as we're making these New Year's resolutions. But the problem is not necessarily the workout. I don't want to demonize the workout. It's how it contributes to the stress load. And it's like a snowball effect, right? In a life of stress, anxiety, and overwhelm, it compounds the problem. So once Al had some insight into that root cause, we were able to come up with a customized plan that helped keep her moving because that was really important for her, but also supported her in her necessary healing. So that is kind of part one. So I'm going to move on into core concept number two. Let me know if any of these sound familiar to you. We're going to talk about how to stop the stress cycle. I'm too busy. My job is too crazy right now. If I can just get through this time, things will get better. My intense workout is the only thing that keeps me sane. I can't quiet my mind, so an app or Netflix or wine gives me something else to focus on. My family needs my time and attention. Any of those things sound familiar to you? All of them? You can type yes in the chat. Just let me know. Let me know where you're at here. Yep. Susan? Yeah. Oh, you also do the 5 a.m. workout? Yep. The boot camps? Yep. I get it. Crashing on the couch at the end of the day with Netflix? Mm-hmm. Yep. Falling asleep on the couch. Yeah. Me too. And the family, right? The demands of your time and attention, the family responsibilities, right? Being kind of the center of the family hub, right? Absolutely. That's intense. That's intense. So let me talk about these a little bit and kind of and we'll talk through these examples as well. So you know what? Honestly, in response to I'm too busy, and I hear this all the time. I hear this all the time. If your stress management techniques are going to add more to your schedule, it would always feel like you're too busy. In fact, if you find yourself giving up things as soon as your schedule fills up, right? So you add something, and as soon as you get busy again, which is probably tomorrow, you can't fit it in. Like the best laid plans, best intentions just get swept out. The next time you open your calendar or somebody schedules you for a last minute meeting or project deadlines change or your family needs you, right? Everything's too crazy. Now, the fix to that, instead of, you know, thinking that you need to, your stress management techniques are going to kind of add to your schedule, right? We need to find ways, find common ease in your regular daily routines, things that you're going to do anyway, so that you don't feel like you have to do more and more. My job is too crazy right now. I just can't get through this. Or if I can just get through this, it'll be better. Maybe, yes. But doesn't it seem like there's always a new project around the corner or new deadlines or new urgent problems? Waiting for the right time to start something only makes the problem bigger. It's like a snowball rolling downhill. And the fix here is that simple changes can have a profound effect. Or you might be saying, my intense workout is the only thing that keeps me sane. And like I just talked about with the story of Al, that high we get from the intense workout gives you a quick jolt of a strong feeling or feeling strong and confident. But if you're experiencing constant stress, anxiety, and overwhelm, that jolt of adrenaline or cortisol will leave you feeling overworked, and exhausted in the long term. Can't quiet the mind. The fix around that, if you do, they do give you something else to focus on, but it's more like a band-aid than a real solution, right? It's a band-aid. Those problems are waiting for you on the other end of it. That's why we binge. We like one more episode, one more episode. And you know what? As it relates to the family or the demands on your time and attention, the responsibilities, what I know to be true is that expecting everyone else around you to change or waiting for a more ideal time to work on your stress management will only increase your feelings of overwhelm and frustration. Focusing on your own self-care can be a top priority, and I can show you how, just like putting on your own oxygen mask. And I know that might sound idealistic. It may even sound like everybody says that, right? Self-care needs to be your top priority. But there are ways that you can actually incorporate both, and I can show you that. We're going to talk about that here. Flip between my screens again. Here we go. Because in truth, these are all just examples of limiting beliefs, right? These are limiting beliefs. You can stop the stress cycle, and you don't have to wait. Because what gets in the way of making change are these limiting beliefs. And you can see how that works, right? I can't do it now because of this. I have to do it this way because of this reason. And these honestly are just stories that we've developed in our minds, in our habits, and our lifestyle over time. And they're upheld in a society that rewards and cultivates this culture of busy. But a belief or habit is not necessarily the truth. So please know that there is another way, another option. And so with that, I'm going to share with you a story of another Al, a different person. And Al has been a client of mine for, 4 or 5 years, maybe more like 5 years now. And she honestly, she's the model of a stressed and busy woman. She, I say that she's been a client for about 5 years, but the truth is that she comes in for short bursts and then she disappears again. And it looks something like this. She reaches out because she's got a particular problem. She wants to come to a yoga class because I also teach yoga. She tells me she needs to stretch, move, improve her flexibility, breathe, relax. These are the things that she's told me. And she comes to class, tells me it helps. And then as we chat more, I find out that she's taken on a new role. She's planning for her daughter's return to school, organizing a big holiday party for her husband's family. She's overwhelmed about the changes in her workplace, can't sleep at night, has a persistent and acute pain in her hip, has gained weight that she's been trying to lose. And again, these are all the things that she shared with me over time, over the course of our relationship. And then she starts missing classes because she's too busy or she's hurt herself. And slowly she stops coming altogether. She wants to take a break, um, or she's trying something new, like a personal trainer or an osteopath. Again, all examples and all of the stuff, it kind of breaks my heart, right? Can you kind of hear it? And the real reason, all the things that she isn't, that all the things that she's doing, all the reasons that that's not working is because of her lifestyle. She's caught in and perpetuating the stress cycle in her life. And all of these reasons, all of this rationale are her limiting beliefs, the beliefs that are limiting her from breaking through and breaking her stress cycle. Right? Do you know anybody like this? Are you somebody like this? And I'm conscious of time here. I'm gonna share a story. This is a story of Kay. It's actually me. In my case, the most impactful changes have always happened when I can make them without the whole world having to know about them. In truth, I'm an introvert, or a bit of an introvert, which may be a surprise to some and probably not a surprise at all to others. But I usually do my best when I don't have to wait for the world to fall in line with the changes that I want to make. And I also believe it's super practical to not have to wait for other people or circumstances to be ideal, because you can wait a lifetime for that. For example, I was super determined to make time in space for the pause meditation, and many of you have received that. I've shared that with many of you. But this is why I think it stuck, because I could do these things. I could do it just for me, and it was easy. It didn't require anything of anyone else. And the other reason it stuck was because the benefits were undeniable. The calm clarity that I was able to gain was profound. And quite honestly, that's what created real change in my world. So for every obstacle, there's a solution. And I found that through experience, honestly, simple solutions are the best and the most impactful. So I'll share another story. This is the moment that things changed for me. The reason you showed up here is because you want the constant stress to stop, right? To stop. Just you can put in the chat, stop. Yep. Okay. Stop, stop, stop. You want the stress to stop. I get it. Yeah, lots of stops coming through. You want to feel better. And mostly you want the constant hamster wheel to just stop for a minute. Just stop for a minute so you can get things back on track. And the thought of keeping up to that hamster wheel is making you feel panicky, anxious, overwhelmed, I know that you're longing to experience calm, clarity, and ease every day. I get it. And here's what I've discovered works, right? As I work to incorporate yoga and Ayurveda into my life, I made an amazing discovery, right? And I'm not here to teach you yoga and Ayurveda. Those are not concepts you need to be familiar with or understand. All that I share, all I teach is steeped in that tradition. So you don't have to learn and understand it. It resonates through my teachings in just kind of this honest, very down to earth, practical language. But what I learned through this study and through my experience is that it was actually my lifestyle. Like I shared in the story of Elle, it was my lifestyle that was perpetuating the cycle of stress in my life. I had developed a habit of busy, and that was the root cause of my daily feelings of panic and overwhelm. And it was resulting in my nervous system and adrenal fatigue. So tell me if these things sound familiar to you. Yep. I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to be doing. I'm no longer motivated, inspired, engaged, and energetic, and I don't know why. Instead, I'm exhausted, frustrated, and frazzled, and I can feel the impact physically, mentally, and emotionally. It feels like a perpetual state of panic and overwhelm. Sound familiar? Because I did all the things too. I took the courses, I joined the gym, I sweated it out at hot yoga. You know, I bought the running gear, I started running, I did my MBA, I lost the weight, I gained the weight, I joined the committees at work, I took a promotion, I took a leave of absence, I accepted the changes in direction, I modeled resiliency, I led big teams, I helped my parents when my dad got sick, I worked full time when I'm a mom and a wife. And these are all the things we're supposed to do. And yet I reached a point where instead of being motivated, inspired, engaged, and energetic, I was exhausted, frustrated, and frazzled. In short, I was stressed. But stress is almost minimizing, right? Like minimizing um, where I was at. The feelings physically, mentally, emotionally were actually perpetual panic and overwhelm. One of my favorite analogies, and the reason for this slide, um, is I felt like a ball boy in tennis, and I don't know if that's the right term for it, but that person on the court that's standing ready, waiting for this ball, waiting for a new ball to be thrown in, or catching the ball that went, you know, was out. Um, this ball boy, I was in a constant state of trying to anticipate where the ball was going to go and being ready to catch it, all the while keeping a good ball in play. And here's the thing, the game never ends. Oh my gosh, it never ends, right? And not only is it one ball in play, it's all the balls at once. Now, you know, if you Google stress management, or you look up popular apps and social media influencers of self-help books, you're going to find a lot of techniques and things to do to deal with stress. All the words like balanced lifestyle, affirmations, manifesting, meditation, habit stacking. And I'm sure, like we've talked about this whole workshop, I know you've tried a number of these things already. But the truth is, and I'm hoping that this point is really coming across to you now, all of those things are like throwing another ball into the game. To get rid of the persistent state of stress, anxiety, and overwhelm, you can't throw more balls in the game. You have to address the root cause, which is you have too many balls in the never-ending game. In short, to solve the overwork and burnout, you have to address the root cause, which is overwork and burnout. And that's what I discovered. Everything I've been doing up to that point, I was only throwing another ball in the game. And this is particularly relevant right now, right? In January 2nd, all of those ads, podcasts, boot camps, books, apps, trackers are asking you to throw another ball in the game. Did that make any sense? Did that make any sense? Is that the approach that we want to take for 2025? Tell me in the chat. Yes, you're in for another ball in the game, or no, you're ready for something different. I'm seeing a lot of no's. I'm ready, says Jen. Ready for different, says Andrea. Yes, ready for change. Okay. So what do you do with a life? work, job, family, etc. How do you stop the game? Well, it's not by checking out, meditating in a cave, taking a big vacation, or wine Wednesdays. Because honestly, the game is only in play when you get back, and then you have to play catch up. You need a plan, right? Am I right? Do you need a plan? You need a step-by-step plan or a method that not only addresses the root cause for you, mind you, because it's not a one-size-fits-all solution, but a plan that helps you to heal the stress, anxiety, and panic that you are now living in your body, mind, and emotions. You need to clear the court and start fresh in an orderly game so that you can stop doing all the things that don't work and only focus on the things that do. You need to reset the game. And so I discovered that to get rid of the persistent, sorry, I'm managing my slides again here, to get rid of that persistent stress, anxiety, and overwhelm, there are 5 key things that you need. You want to hear them? Here we go. To reset the game, instead, here's what you do. You need to learn how to press pause in the easiest, least obvious, and most convenient way possible. Press pause now. You need to know specifically where in your lifestyle the areas that are most problematic and where you are most prone to stress. You need to have simple things to do that don't disrupt your whole family or your job and give you the space and time to heal and release the feelings that don't result, so that you can release the feelings so that you're not, getting mad at work, yelling at your kids, crying at work, all of those things. You need access to mentorship and support and community because you are not alone. Oh my gosh, you are not alone. And once when I had started kind of, seeking mentorship, seeking community and also support and accountability, it really helped to keep me on track and kept things moving forward. And to help me right set when I started to fall back into my old routines, when you kind of start slipping back when things get busy, when things get hard, or sometimes even when things are too easy, you forget. And the fifth thing that you need is you need to make it really sustainable. In other words, it needs to be a wholesale lifestyle change, but it's also something that you can do for the rest of your life. And that is why I do what I do. These 5 steps, this package, this is the plan. And this is what I do. And this is why I created my Stress Less Solution program. And the program not only helps you identify your own root cause, because no 2 people are alike, and there is no one-size-fits-all solution. It helps you highlight the places in your daily life where you are most prone to stress through simple self-assessments and individualized recommendations. It provides you with the helpful tools to help you release the impact of chronic stress, acute overwhelm from the body, mind, and emotions. It shares simple and effective practices to rebuild and restart the game. And this is a key to sustainable results and true lifestyle change. And it gives you the courage and confidence to make lasting change and to be inspired, cheered on, and supported by others. You are not alone. And you are not the only one on this journey. So I know that you know that stress is a part of life, right? I don't want to tell you that you will never experience stress again. It's not it's not realistic. And quite honestly, it would be a lie for me to say, stress transformation means no stress. That is simply not true. And so I'm going to share another story here. The story of Kay. Again, it's me. Because what I can share with you now is that, through my experience and through the time, I now have practices, tools, and resources in place that allow me to manage the stress as it arises. I can spot the lure of the stress cycle at 100 paces. and I can pivot in such a way that I don't step into the game, at least not in the way that I used to. And with these practices in place, I am able to quickly reset if I do find myself there. Because 10 out of 10 times, if I'm starting to feel the stress, anxiety, and overwhelm building up again, it's because something is out of whack in my practices. I've missed something or gotten too busy somewhere. But that's when I check through my list and I can spot it quite quickly, and see what shifted and then pivot back. So it's not that stress doesn't happen anymore, even to me. It's about the ease and grace through which you move forward. And that is what I mean by stress transformation. So let me ask you this. Do you remember a time when all the things that now cause you stress was actually easy or easier? Do you remember a time when you actually felt refreshed after a weekend? Do you remember a time when you felt like you could take on the world? Do you remember a time when feeling calm, clarity, ease, and joy was normal for you? Let me know in the chat if you remember a time when any of those things were true. Claire's saying yes. Rebecca, a long time ago, but yes. Susan, a distant memory. Yeah, Jen says yes. Okay. So the truth is, to get back to that state, a wholesale transformation is required. So I want to just take a minute here to review where we're at and where we've been on this journey together. Because I think, I can say a wholesale stress transformation is required, but before we go tonight, I want to make sure that you have really fixed in your mind these kind of three core concepts, these three main ideas, so that when we depart, right, and you start to be in the world again, and exposure to all of those things that are telling you about your best 2025, and all of the techniques and tools and podcasts and books, and the list goes on and on and on. I want you to really be able to anchor back with these three concepts and understand as you go through all of those things and assess them, how or if they'll work for you. And quite honestly, if they are not, to address your acute stress, right? If they are not providing you with an opportunity for wholesale stress transformation, then all of the stress that you're feeling, this ideal state, these ideal places, right, are going to continue to be a dream. All right. So let me get back to this slide. In core concept number 1, we talked about the real reason that popular stress management techniques don't work. We talked about how apps and trackers give you data versus strategies, and what the heck do you actually do with all that information anyway? We talked about how the podcasts and books offer one-size-fits-all approaches instead of an individualized and specific approach. We talked about how the gym memberships, boot camps just give you even more to do, and how vacations, Netflix, wine Wednesdays, and recreational drugs are really just coping strategies or escape strategies. All of these all these things try to solve the problem at the level of the problem instead of the underlying lifestyle and habits or the actual root cause. So be aware of these things that try to solve the problem at the level of the problem. Then we talked about in core concept number 2, the things we tell ourselves as we deal with or take action around stress management. We talked about limiting beliefs about what it will take, including being too busy. If you remember the story of Al, future dating action, like now is not the right time, thinking you need to be aggressive about it. Remember the story of the other Al, or that you simply can't quiet your mind enough to take right action. or to even contemplate or um, uh, make sense of the right action. And we talked about these as limiting beliefs that, even without knowing, hold us back from taking the action or the most appropriate action. In core concept number 3, I shared the moment that things changed for me, which is super powerful because I walked you through the exact method I used and use to support my clients to help them break the cycle of stress so they can stop throwing more busy balls in the already busy game. This is where we talked about all the ways that we've tried to change the game and that have left us feeling frustrated and frazzled. These are the things that have left us feeling perpetually overwhelmed and that have led to chronic nervous system stress and adrenal fatigue. And this is where I share the steps or methods that I use to reset the game in my life and in the in my program. And I think that's why you showed up today. These are the things that you wanted to learn, right? Through these concepts or little known strategies to help you break free of the stress cycle. This is why this was the title of the workshop. This is why you showed up. You wanted to have greater calm, clarity, and ease in your life without needing to overhaul it or add more hours to your day. You wanted a simpler way to get there. You want to stop feeling this constant stress, anxiety, overwhelm, and the perpetual panic so you can feel energized, enthusiastic, motivated, and inspired again, right? Is that right? I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Thanks for keeping up with the chat. I appreciate it. So at the beginning of this training, I made you that promise. I promised that by the end of the training, I'd have shown you how to stop using these things, right, to manage your stress. Now, here's the thing I want you to remember. Everything that I've shared with you isn't some theory or random idea that I think might work for you. Everything that I walked you through today works. It worked for me. It's worked for my clients. And I started from a very similar place that you are right now. A very similar place. And I understand and know that we all have our own backgrounds. We all have our own unique stress stack, which you now are the term that you are now familiar with. And the methods that I teach are not based on one size fits all. They work for everyone. I know, I am not special. I've had a busy life, the stress, struggles, the trials and errors and missteps. And quite honestly, this is why I'm such an expert and leader in this field. I'm really, really good at teaching this method and leading transformation because of the work I've done and continue to do on myself. So, what is next? What is next for you? Did I fulfill my big promise? What will be your next step? Do you have what you need? Do you feel ready and prepared to launch into your Stress Less 2025 with strength, conviction, and confidence? Would you like a plan? Type yes in the comments if you would like a plan. I'm seeing a lot of yeses. I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Okay. Well, like I said, it's my hope that I delivered on my big promise to you today and that you got some good insight into how and why the stress cycle is impacting you and why the ways that you may have typically addressed or managed stress hasn't worked for you or has stopped working for you. And so I hope that, you are not going to go forth in the same manner. Everything is changed, right? I like to say, like once you know, you can't unknow these things. And if I delivered that to you, I am so glad. But I also want you to know that that the next step doesn't have to be one that you take by yourself. And just because we're coming close to the end of our time together today, things do not have to end here. If you are interested in support, direction, accountability from someone who has been in your shoes, who has researched, studied, applied the learnings, gone through all the trial and error, and come out the other side, well, my friend, I can help you with that. In fact, I've developed an entire program designed to do just that. And you've heard me mention it, the Stress Less Solution. It's something I love to talk about and share. But I want to ask you this. I asked you these questions in a different way just a couple minutes ago, but how would it impact your life if things were easy again? What would it mean for you to wake up refreshed and excited about the day ahead, even a Monday? How would things be different for you if you felt on top of the world instead of trying to hold it up? What would it mean to you, your family, your relationships if you moved through your day with calm, clarity, ease, and joy? How would it be different for you if this was your new normal? You can share some of the, think about that for a minute and share some of the words, the expressions, the feelings in the comments. I'd love to know. What if things were easy again? You were refreshed and excited about the day ahead. How things would be different for you. How your family relationships would be different. How would it be if this was your new normal? What would be different? Crystal says, "Oh my gosh," she says, "I have no words. It would be magical." Oh, that's a big word, Crystal. You do have words. Megan says, "Extraordinary." Anna says, "Relief." Susan says, "I'd feel like me again." Oh, Susan. Oh my gosh. I love that so much. I'd feel like me again. Oh, right? Oh my goodness, you guys. Thank you so much for sharing. Honestly, I am so honored that you being so upfront and vulnerable with me here. And I just want to share, and I've shared it before, you are not alone. I shared with you stories, my own stories today. You're sharing your stories and I've shared stories with my clients, and I'm hoping that by sharing these stories, that has helped. And as well as sharing the reasons that all of these things, all the things that you've been doing right now that you have this understanding of why they're not working, um, you know, you can't not know, right? You can't unknow it. You can't go back to the way things were before. And I'd love to continue here. Right? I'd love to talk about the next steps and how we might work together, what that would look like. Would that be okay with you? I know that we spent lots of time here today, and I'll spend a little bit more time if that is okay with you. So drop me a yes in the chat in the comments if it is okay for me to talk about how we can work together. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of yeses. All right, well, thank you. Thank you, Claire, Deb. Yeah, Megan. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. I would feel incomplete, right? I think that I would feel remiss if I didn't continue and kind of share the rest of the journey, the rest of the story with you. Okay. So because of what we've done tonight, I'm going to jump around a little bit. I'm going to go off, the slides. Ah. So bear with me here as I stop the sharing of my slide for a moment. And oh, there I am. There are you guys. Okay. And I'm going to share a different screen instead. Let me just find what I need. One moment. See if I can get there. One moment. Okay. So I want to talk to you about the stress less solution. So I'm taking you here right to my website, www.kimfulton.ca, and I will drop the link to the website in the chat so you can refer to this yourself or anytime. But the stress less solution is the program I created to create a life of calm, clarity, ease, and joy. And I want to talk about, in particular, what's inside the program. And I know that, I'm going to do a little bit of reading here, but I want to really understand that this is a stress transformation journey. It is a step-by-step roadmap with an easy to follow action plan and simple and effective practices. I'll come back to this in a moment, kind of what's included. But just like we've been talking about tonight, I want you to be able to stop trying to manage stress, right? That constant loop of stress management techniques, which keep us stuck in the stress cycle. And I want to show you how to break the cycle of stress in your life by transforming your relationship with it, right? With practical, simple tools to last you a lifetime. And this is kind of my step-by-step method for creating this lasting change. Step one is to learn and recognize, what is stress? What is it for you? And how and where does it accumulate in your life? In part two, I give you strategies to release the stress, letting go, healing from what it has been accumulated and where. In step three, we reset, and restart. This is resetting the game, right? We assess the lifestyle through a brand new lens. We've calmed, we're understanding, we're releasing the stress. Now your vantage point, your view of the game is completely different, right? And now, right, as we rebuild, which is the next step, it's from this brand new vantage point, this brand new lens, crafting your personalized approach through daily routines. And then step five is integration, right? Now you're ready to move forward with your life, living a stress-less life every day. So just to recap, we have to identify, really learn, understand stress, recognize it, and recognize it and where it accumulates for you. Right? Then we've got techniques and practices to release the stress, letting go of where the accumulation is. We reset and rebuild through very simple lifestyle practices. Incorporating, really the foundation of this is building out new daily routines, very simple daily routines. And then we rebuild your foundation, integrate, and then, review, refresh, and repeat. These lessons, practices, community are available for you to remind as reminders and as a refresh any time. This is how we work together. Scroll back up to the top here. In this program, you have access to a step-by-step method within the Content Hub. You have weekly action tasks and worksheets, live coaching, community connection, and opportunities. Really, truly over $5,000 of content, training, support, community, and accountability. And I will tell you, the price is nowhere near $5,000. So that's how the program is built. That's how it works. That's what you'll find inside. And this is, I know, the best way for us to work together. I share a little bit about me, which I've done with you tonight. I'm going to stop sharing again and pop back to my slides. Because this is how we work together. This is the best step to continue the conversation, right? If you are tired of doing all the things and nothing working for long, and being frustrated, exhausted, tired, stressed out, overworked, burnt out, I invite you into the Stressless Solution, your journey of stress transformation. This slide certainly, is a review of everything that I've covered. But I want you to consider this. I've given you some kind of imagining perspectives here, some things to contemplate. I want you to think about this. 12 weeks from now is the beginning of March. Is the beginning of March. It is the time when most New Year's resolutions are long forgotten, or you feel frustrated and and I think this kind of sense of shame about not being able to get to them or not being able to commit to them. You may be on your third or fourth or fifth restart of the resolutions. But all of those well-intentioned goals are fading away again and again and again. But imagine this instead, right? You've made it. You've begun your new year with newfound clarity and insight. Rather than stacking up a pile of resolutions, you've created a toolkit of simple and effective ways to navigate the busy waters of life, and you feel good and joy. And then you look around and you see that it's not the world around you that's changed. It's not the job, the boss, the coworker, the kids, right? It's you. You've transformed your relationship with stress. This can be you. And I've got a special invitation. This particular program has special bonuses right now, which I think are so important as, just for January, because I think the timing is, oh my gosh, the timing is right for the special invitation to join the Stress Less Solution now, right? Join today. You have access to the program material right away, right? It starts for you right away. For people joining this month only, I will double 2 times the one-on-one calls. There were already one-on-one coaching calls included in the program, and we will be doubling that for those who join in January. And there's a bonus weekly online yoga class as well. So some of you know that I teach yoga. I do a weekly online offering. And I think, for those who are still are looking for movement as part of their New Year's resolutions, I think this is a really nice way to integrate it in a manner that supports your stress-less lifestyle rather than supporting your exhaustion and adrenal fatigue. And so the invitation is to join the Stress Less Revolution. And if you are at all thinking that that is for you or you want to learn more, the invitation as well is to book a call with me. That is your best next step. Next best step, best next step. This is where I can support you with next steps, right? We can talk about what this looks like for you. You can ask me the questions. We can talk through the scenarios. In fact, I call this particular call a stress cycle consultation. So you can talk through your individualized situation, and we can talk about how the program can support you. This gives you a personalized approach with specific and actionable strategies and accountability. And so that invitation to book a call with me will be coming to your inbox just in the next, with the replay of this workshop. So you can go back and review the slides and review the actions that we talked about tonight. So watch your inbox. And we've taken a lot of time tonight, so I'm going to invite you to just pop in the chat with any questions. I can spend a little bit more time for sure. I've got all the time in the world for you guys. I so appreciate you being here. If you've got a particular question about what we covered or about the program itself, you're welcome to pop it in the chat. Okay, Crystal's asking, when does the program start? Honestly, Crystal, it starts the minute you register. So it is it's like I mentioned, it's a 12-week program. You get immediate access to the entire program in the program console. And you can start work at it right away. In fact, in lesson 1, I give you a very simple step to something to do really quickly so that you can immediately start experiencing benefits. You can dig in right away. Included with the program, there are weekly group mentoring calls, and that will start as quickly as we can make it happen. We once we kind of have our January cohort finalized, the group mentoring calls will kick off right away, but that doesn't stop you from working the program. Like I said, the day you register can be your day one. And your one-on-one calls, I'll give you the tool. In fact, very similar to the invitation I'm going to give you to book my calendar. You'll have something very similar to book your one-on-one calls throughout the program. And you can also start those right away. We'll pace those over the duration of the program, but you can book those right away. So that's when it starts. It's up to you. The ball's in your court. Up to you. And the bonuses that come along that I mentioned tonight are for anybody that joins in January. It's a January special. Good. Anna asks, what if you can't attend the group coaching? Like what time does it happen? It's all recorded and it's all going to be housed for you. I should add that you'll have access to a private program, Facebook community, and between that and the other tools within the Content Hub itself, all of the recorded group mentoring calls will be there for you. In addition to, I believe I'll pop the yoga classes in there as well. So this program is completely asynchronous, so that you can join kind of anytime, anywhere. You'll always have access to join it live, but you don't miss a thing if you're not able to join us live. You can submit questions in advance. We'll have our touch points and we have our ways of kind of continuing the conversation, including in the private Facebook group. So lots of ways to stay connected, even if you can't join live. Great question. Thank you. Does this program help you deal with a demanding family? Oh, that's an excellent question, Courtney. That's an excellent question. I think that I would address that by saying, in this program, one of the first things we do is to understand your particular stress stack, right? The components and makeup of your stress stack. And the family demands, in fact, even particular family members may make some of the building blocks of your stress stack. That may very well be the case. But I've also said in the duration of our discussion tonight that we don't need, I want to give you tools that don't require other people to do differently. In fact, what you'll find is that by the things that you're doing for you in your lifestyle and the way that you're doing different, the impact of those stressors from those family members is different for you. In fact, may not feel like a stress. It may not be something that adds to your stress stack going forward. So I would say, we're not going to change a family member, but we can change the impact of that in your life. I hope that helps. Great questions, you guys. Oh my goodness. And to book a call, the link to book a call. Thanks for asking that, Rebecca. Yeah, the link to book a call. So you can go to, and let me pop right in here. You can go to my website, www.kimfulton.ca, and I'll pop that right into the chat here. If you give me a second, I can do two things at once. You can go right on the page here that I'm showing you and book your call. But in addition to that, I'll be adding it into the email follow-up tomorrow that you'll get from me. Will include the recording of this session tonight, as well as the link to book a call. And you can always go into, two other methods. If you have any trouble with those things, you can go into the Facebook group, Busy Women Breaking the Stress Cycle, which I believe most of you, if not all of you, are members of, and just message me there. Or you can reply to one of the many emails that I sent you leading up to this and just let me know that you want to book a call, and we'll take it from there. I hope that helps. Okay. Thank you for the amazing questions. And thank you guys. Oh my gosh, I'm going to stop sharing my screen again here for a moment. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time and for your willingness to kind of really dig in here with me. We've spent lots of time, actually, we've gone over time, and I appreciate all of the interaction, all of the questions, all of your enthusiasm as we have as we've gone through this workshop tonight. And, I really, like I said, I really wanted to do this as a first step in the new year for you so that you can create your resolutions and your 2025 in a way that sets you up for greater calm, clarity, ease, and all the joy, all the joy. And so with that, I'll wish you a beautiful rest of your evening. Thank you. Namaste.